Buenos dias, everyone. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Today we're going to go over some of the practice problems for Chapter 6. Okay, this is due on Wednesday at 3:10. So I made a video so that you can go back and forth and you can fast forward and find things that you need extra help on. You'll need your graphing calculators and your textbooks for this. Okay, so I'm going to go through each question. Just do one of the parts for each question, okay? Starting with number 31. So number 31 is asking for A, we're going to do 31A. We're going to find the highest 20%, so the z-score cutoffs, okay? So I drew a normal curve right here. Remember, we always want to start with our mean, right? Remember, we write this as n mu comma sigma. So this is mu and sigma. This is the mean. This is the standard deviation. So we know that our mu, our mean, is right here. And then this is 1 standard deviation above, 2 standard deviations above, 3 standard deviations above. This would be negative 1 standard deviations below, or 1 standard deviation below, 2 standard deviations below, and 3 standard deviations below. Okay. So for question A, we're looking for the highest 20%. Okay. So with the normal curve, for these type of questions, I highly suggest that you draw out the normal curve. You won't have to unless the question asks you, but it helps to visualize it, okay? This thing with the normal curve, remember, inside, under the curve are percentages, and the percents starting over here. And, you know, we only draw really to 3 standard deviations, but remember, there's more, okay? You could have 4 standard deviations, 5 standard deviations, 6 standard deviations. It keeps going. Okay? And then same thing on this side as well. So over here would be 0%, okay? And going this way, you would get closer to 100%. So we always go from left to right. So when you say the highest 20%, what we're estimating here is we're estimating that it's going to be somewhere, I don't know, it's going to be somewhere like right here. If this is the highest 20%, if this right here is 20%, what percentile would that cutoff be right here? Because that's what we're trying to figure out. So this would be the 80th percentile, okay? And that's what we're looking for. So we're looking for the 80th percentile. So I'm going to show you 2 ways to do this. So you can use a table method, and then we're going to use our calculator method, okay? And either one's okay. So with a table, you want to see page A78 in your textbook, okay? You can find this table online. You can find it in your textbook. The format of it might be a little bit different, but I'm just going to go over the one you have in your textbook. So notice that it tells you that it's calculating from the left to the right, okay? Calculating from the left and the right. And remember, 0 right here, 0 means you're right exactly at the mean. Anything to the left of it is going to be negative. Okay, anything to the right of it is going to be positive. So everything on page A78 are negative z-scores. That means it's below the mu. And everything on page A79 is above, okay? So it's positive. So right now, since we're looking at 80th percentile, we know that it's above. And in the middle, okay, in the body of the table are the percentages, and on the columns, or the top row, are your z-scores. So what we're going to do, we're trying to find 80% in the body right here. Now notice that on the left side, it only goes up to 50%. That makes sense, right? Because it's negative z-scores, but we want a positive z-score here. So we're going to look for something closest to 80. Now this table rounds, right? It rounds z-scores to the 1,000th place. I'm sorry, to the 100th place. 2 places after the decimal. But your calculator will give you the exact answer. We'll do the calculator in a second. So you want to find whatever's closest to 80%. So let's see, 80, 80. It looks like this 0.7995 is closer to 0.80 than 0.8023. So I'm going to round it to 0.8, and then the way I'm going to look at it, I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to this table right here. Okay? So it looks like it's 0.84. Okay. So our z-score is 0.84. Remember to put a positive or positive or negative. If it's negative, make sure to indicate that, okay? So z-score right here is 0.84. On your calculator, what you're going to do, and I know this is in your textbook, let me give you a page number. See page 114. What you're going to do, you're going to go to second vars, and you're going to go to the third option. For this chapter, we're only using option 2 and option 3. Later on, we'll use the other options, but stay in 2 and 3, okay? So inverse norm, and then depending on your calculator, it's going to ask you a few things. So some of you, your calculator, it's going to show up with this, okay? So your area here is going to be 0.80, okay? There we go, 0.80, because we're looking for the 80th percentile. Now, when we have our normal distribution, our mu and our sigma, our parameters here, our mu right now is 0, and our standard deviation is 1, right? Because this is, each standard deviation is 1, length of 1. So 0, 1, I'm going to hit paste or calculate. For some of your calculators, you're going to have to type in these values, okay? So your z here, and what you're going to do in your calculator, when you want to show work for your calculator, you're going to write inverse norm, and you write 0.80, comma 0, comma 1. And what you have to do, you have to identify these values. So you can just do that with arrows. This can be you just write area, your mu, and your standard deviation. Class, this is sufficient work. Okay, you'll get full credit on the AP score and our tests and quizzes. And then you just write z equals 0.84, and you can round this. Ideally 2 decimal places or more. Okay, so I'm just going to add one more just in case. Notice how these answers are similar. This one's the more exact one. So if you remember back to the table. The table answer was anywhere between 0.84 and 0.85, okay? So that's why we got 0.842 right there. All right, that's number 31. Let's go to 33. Let me find my pen. This time we're talking about cattle. We know that the mu is 1152 and the standard deviation is 84. We're talking about pounds. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and draw out my normal curve. And you can just sketch it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This mu, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then your normal curve is going to look something, your bell-shaped curve, something like that. Okay, so we know that our mu is 1152, so it's no longer 0 and 1, okay? And then one standard deviation above would be 1152 plus the 84. So that would be 1236, 1320, 1404. Again, you're not required to draw this out, but I highly suggest it. Okay, just like that. So for this specific question, for A here, we're looking for over 1250 pounds. Okay? So there's a couple very important things. So 1250 would be our cutoff. 1250 would be what? Approximately like right here. And then another thing is this keyword over. If we're talking about over, we're talking about this side, right? If it's an under, you would shade the other side. Okay. So again, I'm gonna do this using the table, and then I'm gonna use this doing this by calculator. Okay. So for the table, what we need to do first is we need to find the z-score. Okay. Z equals what? So remember the formula: z equals our observed value minus our mu over our standard deviation. So that would be 1250 minus the 1152 over the 84. Okay, so that's a z-score formula. Your calculator will not do that for you. You have to calculate it yourself. So 1250 minus 1152 divided by 84. Okay, I get a z-score of 1.16, 0.167, or 1.167, and then we're going to look that up on in our table. Okay, so now we're going to find this. Find in table. Class, you should be able to know how to spell table, but also know how to use a table and your calculator. So we know, looking at this, we know that the z-score, because right, everything on this side is going to be positive, everything on this side is going to be negative. So we know that's a positive z-score, so I'm going to look for 1.167. Now I have to round this to 1.17, okay? Because our table only goes to the hundredths place. So 1.17 would be right here, okay? 0.8790. 0.8790. So 0.8790, is that what I said? Yeah, okay. Wait. 0, okay? So that's our percent right here. Percent on left of cutoff. Okay. So that percent is what's on this side. However, we want to know what's on this side, right? So what you're going to have to do is you have to take 1 minus 0.8790, and that's going to give you your answer. Okay? 1 minus 0.8790 comes out to 12.1%. Okay, so that means this part right here is going to be 12.1% above the 1,250 pounds. So that's how you use your table. On your calculator, it's a little bit different. Let me get back to our page. Okay. So on your calculator, this is on page 112. Page 112. For this question, you're going to go to, remember I told you earlier, we're going to go to number 2 or 3. This is going to be number 2. Okay. And then when I look at this right here, it's asking us for our lower bound and upper bound. First off, let's go ahead and type in our mu and standard deviation. Oh, actually, it won't let us. Okay, we have to go lower. So, class, what's the lowest, since we're looking at over 1250, the lowest pounds we're looking at is right here. This would be our lower limit, okay? And then up here would be our upper limit, okay? So when you type this in, I'm gonna write 1250, and our upper limit, what's the highest, greatest pounds that these steer can have? You know, it could be something right here, okay? Like almost more than 1 million pounds. So we're just gonna type that in, and then our mu is gonna be 1152, and our standard deviation is 84. Paste, Okay. So on your when you show your work, you write normal CDF. You write 1250, 999999, 1152, 84. And you have to label it, okay? If you just put this in to show your work, this does not mean anything. You have to identify this is your lower limit. This is your upper limit. This is your mu. And this is your standard deviation. It's totally okay to use the symbols to signify this, okay? So the area comes out to 0.12167 or 12.2%. Okay? Notice how these two answers are slightly different. It doesn't matter. If I could see your work, if you use a table, you should get this answer. If you use a calculator, you should get this answer. Okay? Remember, in statistics, we're not too concerned about a discrepancy of this little. So 35. Class, again, I hope this really helps you so you can pause the video. And I would say you do each problem. I gave you like 30, I did 33A with you. So maybe you could do B, C, and D. All these answers are in the back, okay? So go ahead and check them and then go on to the next ones. All right. So we're talking about cattle again here. So same one for 35. It's a normal curve. It's 1152 and 84. Let me draw our normal curve again. Since you already drew this for the previous question, you don't have to redraw it again, but you can if you want to. Okay, something like that. And I'm going to write in the weights again, 1152. Okay, so for this question, we're looking for the highest 10% of weights. Okay. Sorry, I got that smudged right there. So now highest 10% of weights is going to be somewhere it's going to be somewhere, I don't know, like here, right? So that represents 10%. So class, what would this cutoff be right here? This would be the 90th percentile, right? Okay, so that's going to be our cutoff point right there. So again, we can use the table or we can use the calculator. Okay? So for the table, we need to find the z-score of 90%. So z-score of 90th percentile is what? So let's go to the table. Let's find whatever is closest to 90. So again, we're looking in the middle of the table, okay? A common mistake is students look for 0.90 in the z-score column. No, we're looking for it in the body, in the middle of the table. Okay, so it looks like it's gonna be right here. So 1.28, 1.28, approximately 1.28, okay? So then what I'm going to do, I'm going to use the formula, mu equals standard deviation. I have to work backwards. 1.28 equals, we're looking for x, minus 1152 over 84. Okay, so this is where your algebra skills are going to come in. You guys remember how to simplify this? I hope so. So 1.28 times 84. If you guys forgot, you have to multiply these first, right? So you got 10.52 equals x minus 152, x equals plus 1259.52 pounds. I think I forgot to do this in previous examples. Make sure you put the units on here, okay? So that means the cutoff point would be at 1259.52. So any steer that's greater than 12.59.52 pounds is going to be the 90th percentile or above. It's going to be the highest 10%. Okay, remember we always go from left to right. Okay, so on your calculator, this time since you have the percentiles, you're going to use the inverse norm, and then remember you need to put here the area. You need to put the mu and the standard deviation. Okay, so this would be the 0.90, 1152, and 84. Go ahead and try that on your calculator. One one five two. Okay, so it comes out to approximately 1259.65 pounds. Okay, sorry, I wrote out pounds here, but I abbreviated right here. Either one's fine. So notice your answers are slightly different because this is going to be more exact. Your calculator is more exact than the table. Okay. All right. Let's do number 37. Sorry, this video is a little bit long. Let me draw this out again. 1152, comma 84. All right, so this next question is a type of question that it's like almost guaranteed it's going to show up on the AP exam because it's like AP exam, they love to give the type of questions where it takes information from multiple chapters, multiple units. Okay, and you'll see that in a second. So 1152. Class, I hope you're doing these examples with us. I hope you're not just kicking back, eating some popcorn and watching this, or doing other things, okay? Make sure you're doing this with us. Another benefit of drawing the table out is you can just verify your answer. Like if this is our answer, we can see that it makes sense that it's between 1 and 2 standard deviations, right? This right here is 1 standard deviation above. This right here is 2 standard deviations above. Our z-score right here, 1.28, it makes sense. It's between 1 and 2. So it makes sense that this answer is right here, right? If somehow you get an answer on this side, it's like, wait a minute, that does not make sense. How can 1259 pounds be down here? Okay? All right, so I want to do letter C for number 37. Okay, so it's asking for the IQR. Okay, so remember the formula for IQR is Q3 minus Q1, right? Q3 is your 75th percentile minus our 25th percentile. Okay, so for this question, I'm just going to use a calculator, but you can easily do this with your table as well. Basically, you need to find the cutoff points for both of these and then subtract them. Okay? All right. So to illustrate this, it's going to be if this right here is our Q1 and this right here is our Q3. We want to know what this distance is right here. Okay? Whatever that may be. So for this one right here, since we have the percentile, we're going to use inverse norm. I think I should tell you guys this trick right now. So when you're given the percent and you want to find x, you're going to use the inverse norm, okay? Where you have to do the area, mu, and standard deviation. If you're given x and you want to find the percent, you're going to use the normal CDF one, okay? So this would be your lower, this would be your upper, this would be your mu, and this would be your standard deviation. So I hope that this is a good trick for you because it gets confusing which one do I use. Okay, so for this one, you're going to do inverse norm of 0.75, comma 1152, comma 84, minus the inverse norm of 0.25, comma 52, comma 84. Okay, so inverse norm of 0.75. Okay, so this is 120866. Shame on me, class. I would not get full credit for this question because I did not label what each of these are. I know it feels tedious, but you have to, okay? Area, mu, standard deviation. So the value I got for Q3, this right here, I got 1208.66. And let's see what Q1 is. You know that these are going to be equidistant, right? So I could subtract this from 1252 and then subtract again from 1252 to find this right here. But these are going to be equal, right? These distances. But I'm just going to use my calculator. Oops. Inverse norm, 0.25, 1152, 84. Does anyone think about steak when you think about cows? Never mind. 1095.34. I'm just going to subtract those two values now. 1208.66 minus my answer comes out to 113.32. Okay? So our IQR here equals that. So this answer right here is 113.32 pounds. We did it. Okay. Last question. I'm going to go over 39. I think you could do 41 on your own, but 39 brings back good memories of algebra. Okay. So for this question, you have to find the missing parameter. So for A, we know that mu equals 20. Each of those questions are separate, okay? Mu equals 20, 45% above x equals 30. And then we want to find this one right here, okay? So let's think about what we know. We know our z-score formula is x minus mu over standard deviation. Oops, over this standard deviation. Okay, so we know that x equals 30. We know our mu is 20. We're trying to find our standard deviation. So can we find the z-score based off of this right here? Sure we can, okay? So I'm going to draw a picture to illustrate that. Okay. Oh, that's a bad normal curve. So our mu is 20, and we don't know what the standard deviation is. So we're trying to solve for the standard deviation. So our mu would be 20. We know that x is, I don't know, x is, gosh, I don't know the distance of the length of our standard deviations right now because that's what we're trying to find. But I know that 30 is somewhere up here, okay? And we know that 45% is above. So this right here would be 45%. So class, what is our percentile right here? Remember, we always go from left to right. So this is our 55th percentile. Okay, so I got to find the z-score of the 55th percentile. So I'm going to do inverse norm. You can easily do this in your table. Go look at 55% in your table. It's going to be a positive z-score, right? Because, right, anything above, so this right here is going to be positive z-scores. Anything this way is going to be negative z-scores. 0.55, comma 0, comma 1. Okay, because I don't know what I know our mu, but it does not make sense to use that because I don't know what our standard deviation is. Is this hurting your head? I'm sorry if it is. Okay, so our z is approximately 0.1257. So I'm going to take that and put it into our formula over here. So 0.1257 equals 30 minus 20 over mu. Algebra, how do you solve that? 0.1257 mu equals 30 minus 20, right? You have to multiply these. And then 0.1257 mu equals 10. And then 0.1257 mu is approximately 79. Let me check this answer in the back, okay? This answer seems abnormally large. Oh yeah, we did it right. Class, why'd you doubt me? Okay. And we're not talking about pounds or anything right here. So this is just, you just write your answer like this, okay? So our missing parameter right here is 79.55. That is 79.55. Okay, class, hopefully you watch this video ASAP. Come with questions, okay? Ask a lot of questions, please. Thank you. Remember, I'm only gonna explain things if you guys ask questions. Thanks.